Now we're going to turn to the recycle bin design pattern. This is another Cunningham and Cunningham catalog design pattern at their site, http://c2.com. And this is the recycle bin design pattern. And the idea here is that if it takes a lot of work to create an object, and you have created an object, you don't want to just get rid of it when you're done. You don't want to just discard it. Instead, you want to put it into a recycle bin and get it back when you need it, when some other parts of your code needs it. So this avoids the expensive object creation process having to be duplicated over and over again. Instead, it just allows you to recycle objects that you don't need. So here's how it works. You have code and a recycle bin, and you store an object that you no longer need in the recycle bin. You store the object in the recycle bin. You keep storing objects in the recycle bin. As you see here, more and more objects pile up in the recycle bin until you need them again. And when you need them again, you can execute a retrieve operation on an object in the recycle bin, and you retrieve an object and you have it back in your code, back ready for use again. The idea is that you no longer have to perform the entire object creation process if you've got a recycle bin of objects. This can be very useful in some cases where your objects can be readily and rapidly customized for use again. And if that's the case, then the recycle bin design pattern is a good one. If, on the other hand, there's no ready way to reconfigure your objects for alternate use, the recycle bin might not be a good idea because you can't take an object and recycle it. But if you can recustomize an object from the recycle bin and put it back to work in your code, the recycle bin design pattern is a good one because it says that you can recycle your objects rather than just having to discard them and then recreate them from scratch, because the recreation process might be expensive in terms of resources, time, code lines, and so forth. So there's the recycle bin design pattern. It shows you how you can recycle objects in your code. When you're done with an object, rather than just discarding it, you put it into the recycle bin, and later on in your code you might need an object of that kind again. And if your objects are configurable, then you can retrieve that object from the recycle bin and configure it as needed, use it again in your code, and when you're done, put it back into the recycle bin, and so forth. So the idea is to have a pool of objects that you can work with and place objects in that recycle bin or that pool rather than just discarding them. Java uses that a lot in connections with databases, as it creates pools of objects rather than just having to create objects anew. It maintains a pool of objects and takes from that pool as necessary and puts back connection objects into that pool as the objects are no longer needed temporarily, rather than just discarding those objects, and then goes back to the pool and recovers another one of those connection objects as needed. So Java and many other languages use pooling to store temporarily unneeded objects in, and that's very good in terms of efficiency and in terms of speed, because if you want to just recover one of those objects and reuse it, it's available for you rather than just having had it discarded. So that is the recycle bin design pattern, and it's a good and effective one for efficient coding. So that's another one of the Cunningham and Cunningham cataloged design patterns, the recycle bin design pattern.